Imagine a button sitting right in front of you. Press it, and you instantly get 1,000,000 yen. Okay, maybe that's not enough. Let's make it $100 million. And not even a single second passes in the real world. But there's one catch. The moment you press it, your consciousness is ripped away and trapped in a world of absolute nothingness for 500 million years. You are immortal. You cannot die. But once your time is up, every single memory of those 500 million years is wiped completely clean. So, would you press it? This thought experiment has a pretty fascinating origin. It actually started as a short manga back in 2001 called The 500 Million Year Button by Japanese artist Sota Sugahara, featured in Weekly Storyland. 500 million years. That is a number our brains literally cannot comprehend. All of recorded human history is barely 5,000 years. What you're about to face is 100,000 times the length of all human existence combined. What does 500 million years actually feel like when you are trapped in a void with no matter, no sound, and not a single photon of light? On day one, the first thing that breaks you is the silence. There is no wind, no hum of electronics, not even the faint rustle of air. You quickly realize the world is too quiet. So quiet, you start hearing the inside of your own body, the heavy, slow thud of your heart, the rushing tide of blood behind your ears. Even the dry, grating scrape of your throat every time you swallow. To break this suffocating silence, you start to sing, but the moment the words leave your mouth, they are swallowed by the darkness. No echo, nothing. You sing again and again until your voice goes hoarse, until the lyrics repeated millions of times lose all meaning, turning into a string of cold, mechanical noise. By year 10, the sensory deprivation starts eating your mind alive. Your brain becomes like a rusty juicer, desperately squeezing out the tiniest drops of your past life. You play a game with yourself, replay your favorite movies frame by frame, or try to recall the exact crease on your third-grade desk. But memory has a limit. Once you've chewed over every movie, every book, and every childhood memory 1,000 times, the well runs dry. You realize you can no longer remember the curve of your first love smile or your mother's face in the kitchen. You trace your fingers through the empty air, trying to draw their faces, but you find only darkness. You begin to wonder, was the real world just a beautiful, dying dream? By year 100, the poison of forgetfulness begins to rot your language. One day, you realize you don't know what the word sun means. You can't remember what green looks like. You try to speak to yourself, but you can't even piece together a basic sentence. All that comes out is a hollow, animalistic howl. Worse, you start to forget your own name. You whisper over and over, I am, but those syllables lose all meaning under the weight of 1,000,000 repetitions. With no past, no language, and no way to define who you are, you fall into a bottomless, terrifying panic of utter isolation. By year 10,000, you have completely lost your mind. In this desolate abyss, you cannot sleep, and you cannot slip into a coma to escape. To prove you are still alive, you claw at your own skin with your nails. You feel the sharp sting of pain. You feel the warm blood run down. But under the rules of immortality, the wounds heal instantly. You try to kill yourself. You try to strangle your own neck, try to tear your soul apart with sheer willpower. But every time you think you've finally escaped, your consciousness wakes up, perfectly intact, under the cold, indifferent rules of the void. This inability to die becomes the ultimate curse. Day after day, you tear at yourself, slamming against the nothingness, shattering and rebuilding your own soul over and over in a living hell. By year 1,000,000, the madness finally recedes, replaced by a graveyard chill. Through endless cycles of breaking and remolding, your mind has been completely reconstructed. You stop screaming. You stop clawing. You sit cross-legged in the center of the void, still as a statue. Your eyes lose their focus, but inside your head, a new universe is being born. With no external noise or light, you begin to build things with pure logic and imagination. You simulate the fall of a single grain of dust, calculating the physics of a star collapsing into a black hole. You build massive cities, populate them with billions of virtual minds, design their histories, and talk to them. You are no longer a prisoner waiting for rescue. You have become the creator god of your own mind. By year 100 million, Even your inner universe fails to fill the void. You sweep away the galaxies, letting everything go quiet. Your mind turns inward, deconstructing time, existence, and the self. You no longer think of yourself as human, nor do you care about returning to that tiny, insignificant real world. You have transcended joy, pain, anger, and despair, entering a state of absolute, divine Zen that even gods cannot reach. Over these unfathomable eons, the mortal who pressed the button for some pocket change has long since dissolved. What remains is a God who has unlocked the ultimate truths of the cosmos. By year 500 million, the golden doors of reality slowly swing open. This God, who has transcended the absolute limits of the human mind, steps toward the exit with perfect serenity. But then, the cruelest rule of all kicks in. The white protocol initiates. The moment you cross the threshold, your magnificent soul forged through 500 million years of suffering and godhood is instantly formatted. Every cosmic truth you calculated, every ounce of madness you survived, and your dignity as a god of the void are vaporized in a microsecond. Click, your consciousness snaps back to reality. Your memory reverts back to that average, oblivious, slightly greedy human. You didn't even have time to blink. You look at the money in front of you, touch your face, and let out a laugh. Wow, that was easy. Easiest money of my life. You take the cash, go out, and celebrate. You think you won, but did you? This is the philosophical trap at the heart of this experiment. Who is the real you? Psychologists talk about the experiencing self versus the remembering self. Right now, the person enjoying the millions in the real world is the remembering self because you have no memory of the pain, only the joy of the reward. But in that void, the version of you that screamed, went mad, and slowly became a god through endless torment was the experiencing self. If you think, well, if I don't remember it, it's like it never happened, then you are equating memory with existence. But in that void, every single second of those 500 million years of suffering was 100% real, and it was happening to you. While you were in that hell, you couldn't comfort yourself by saying, "Oh, I'll forget this later." Because in that moment, the agony was your eternity. Can you really justify torturing your present self just because your future self won't remember it? If erasing memories makes a crime disappear, does that mean we can do whatever we want to an amnesia patient? And here's the scariest part. Because you have no memory of the suffering, you will think this money is the easiest thing in the world. When it runs out, you won't hesitate to press the button again, and again, and again. In the real world, you are just sitting on a couch, clicking a plastic button a few times. But on the other side of time, you are pushing yourself into a purgatory of 1.5 billion years. 5 billion years, an infinite loop of eternal hell. And in that endless void, countless versions of you possessing supreme, godlike wisdom look back at your greedy, smiling, button-pressing self in the real world with nothing but pity and despair. The you in reality is nothing but a cheap, greedy husk left behind in the physical world after your magnificent soul was burned and discarded in the dark over and over again. So, let's go back to the beginning. If that red button was sitting right in front of you, would you press it?